Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Wake up, wake up.
Coming in
wake
hot.
Up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Almost tore the club up.
You 100?
Nah, we live at 85.
All right. Checking the feed, make sure we're facing each other this time.
Yeah.
How they like to talk about us.
It was bad.
Time to get up and move your body.
Hey. Move your body. Move your body. Move your body. Don't hurt nobody.
Don't hurt nobody. What up? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. I'll be the dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, October 20th, 2023.
Man.
A fresh edition of the morning show right here on First Sky. So appreciate you joining us. I already got good word from the 6:30 crew about the mix this morning, so appreciate that very much.
Vibes.
Thanks for getting up with us early and checking it out. You can go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, or you can ask your Amazon Alexa to play First Sky Omaha Radio and get your good stuff.
Yeah.
How you doing over there, man?
I'm all right. Kind of. I guess I got enough sleep, but I think it's the way that woke me up. Like the way I woke up was kind of getting at me, man. I woke up from some thunder outside my window, like crashing, and it just kind of had me like, it can be a little disorienting a little bit. So yeah. But I'm glad to be here. Definitely. It's Friday. Excited. Supposed to be going to the zoo today with my little man after the show. So yeah. Chaperoning on a field trip. So yeah.
That'll work. A little family time.
Yeah.
Supposed to be nice out here today in Omaha, about 80 degrees. So getting a little decent break in the weather here. So
luckily for me, it sounds like the rain is slowing down out there. So yeah.
That's what's up. Good morning, everybody in the chat. I see people coming on in. Appreciate it. Tamika Johnson gives us some sunshine, like we're gonna have today. Kimmer Snipe says, "Good morning, y'all."
Hey,
what's happening? Leia Keiser says, "Happy Friday, yay, yippee, yo, yay, yay." Oh man, I almost had it.
I think you got it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, I ran out of gas at the end there.
Yeah, kind of sputtered.
Kimber says, "The mix had me dancing in the kitchen while I was cooking this morning." That's
okay.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's
move your body, but don't hurt nobody. Okay.
There you go. Amy H. No Dot says, "Good morning, all. Good morning to you."
Hey,
over there representing Heart Ministries, man. They got some job openings,
man.
That I saw that they put on Friends of First Sky. So we'll talk about that. This is definitely Haps Friday. We got definitely some haps to talk about. So definitely get your haps together. And I thought we might as well throw in a couple little mentions of some jobs opportunities if the fam has some. So that's what's up.
Get the coin. I like the tagline in that post. Become a part of the heart. I like that. Yeah.
You put that on t-shirt. I like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That Miss Erica Fell says, "Good morning, everyone. Yes, to Friday." Feeling that Friday. And Pops in the chat too says, "Good Friday morning. Sending bad love from Las Vegas to my First Sky fam." That's what's up.
Hey.
Right on. Good morning, Pops.
Right on.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I love the first few minutes of the show where we get all the hellos and how you doing's going on. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. Decorum. It's kind of missing nowadays, man. Not a lot of decorum out there,
Yeah.
especially in social media and pop culture. Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good to have a little decorum. So yeah,
Yeah.
top of the morning to everybody. Welcome. Come on in, grab a seat. Get comfortable. How you doing, Paul? I know you kind of gave us a peek into how your yesterday was supposed to kind of go with the morning procedure and everything. You found a ride. You
Yeah.
got all that handled.
Yeah. Have we got a ride? I got to spend the day with the fam afterwards. The fam came pick me up after the procedure, and we went out to eat and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
that was what's up. That was a unexpected good afternoon there afterwards. So the procedure went well. I encourage everybody to go get your colonoscopy, especially if you're over 40.
Man.
They used to say over 50, but now it's over 40. So
Hmm.
yeah, go get it. Go make it happen. They put you under a light anesthetic, and I went in, fell asleep, woke up, it was done. So
Feeling
uh,
better?
I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling less. I'm feeling not that great in my stomach because of the prep that they make you take before the thing.
Mhm.
So they basically give you this prep that kind of washes your whole insides out, and you got to fast for a couple days before that and all that. So I'm still feeling a little queasy from the medication, the prep stuff more than the actual procedure. So
Mhm.
and then of course when you start eating again after a fast, you know that you better put the right stuff in there, or else you're gonna be having some trouble. So
Man, right back. I was just about to say it's a good time to kind of restart the system, you know what I mean? Get hydrated, get them cells filled up.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm trying to make some good decisions on that and take it slow, get back to normal on that. But yeah, it was good. I'm
Good.
more than anything, I'm happy. I'm happy that I went and I did it, because I was definitely kind of that era of cats that was like, nah, I ain't going doing that. I ain't.
Mhm.
I'll wait. But like I said, I had an uncle that just passed away, and that puts it back on your mind. So
Oh yeah.
that kind of thing really is like, okay, I know that they would want me to go handle this. Let me just go handle it while I can. So,
Oh yeah.
of course, insurance. If you want to really kind of get into a discussion about it, insurance is going to charge me about $2,700 for the procedure.
Really?
Yes.
Really? You got
So
that Medicaid Advantage plan? You got that Advantage plan?
I wish I did. I wish I did. Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a $13,000 procedure, and they're gonna charge me
Mm.
2,700 of it because of the deductible, because of all the stuff,
Right,
deductible,
right, right, right,
all
right.
the that I haven't reached yet. All the fine print that you got to go try to figure out if this is right.
Yeah, I'm
So,
I'm kind of looking at hospital bills the same way I'm looking at like these fees from this auto garage. Like how much did this really cost?
and
You
much,
know,
and much more complicated because they can hide a whole bunch of stuff and stuff that you don't
man,
recognize on the medical sheets, bro.
man, hit you, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
tough.
yeah.
That's tough. So we're gonna have to deal with that. Now I got to call the insurance company. I got to try to work something out. I got to see what's happening. I read the fine print myself and all that mess. So other than that, though, yes, I'm psychologically very very happy that it got done. They did have to remove some polyps, so we'll see if we still got to test those and make
Mm.
sure everything is cool. So there's a little bit of like, okay, we'll see. But at the same time, man, ain't nothing like not taking care of yourself and
Oh yeah,
go ahead and do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
yeah, man, goes a long way, man. I definitely spoken to a few elders, who kind of gave me the like, man, yeah, you just need to go ahead and if there's something wrong, go ahead and go to the doctor, man. Like I could have had a couple situations where I could have avoided had I gone early, and it just, man, definitely take care of yourselves, but also find you a doctor that you vibe with. Like you can't just go to any doctor.
That's what I
Let's
was gonna
also,
say.
yeah, acknowledge that.
I heard a podcast one time where they were talking about the difference between white kids and privilege and black kids, and they use the doctor's office as a case study, and basically the white kids are taught to speak up to the doctor, speak up about your concerns. They're taught a sense of entitlement where if there ain't nothing wrong with you, the doctor's there to serve you. There's nothing wrong with you questioning the doctor and saying stuff. Whereas black families sometimes they'll tell their kids, the doctor's the expert, just be quiet, just but don't speak up. And we kind of have this culture of really not asking the right questions and not demanding the right things that we need out of stuff. So
Mm.
that was heavy on my mind about so just with what you just said, that's what I'm talking about. There are a bunch of doctors out there that you can choose from, ones that you can learn, you can trust. A lot of black doctors out there, these
Yeah.
days. Lots of teams, So I kind of definitely took a look at the team that was doing the thing yesterday, and got to meet the anesthesiologist and find out exactly what that cat was gonna do. You gonna stay in the room while I'm under?
It's a
You
real
know what I
thing.
mean?
It's a real
You
thing.
gotta ask these questions, and you gotta really demand what kind of service you want too. So, yeah, I just found that interesting. But yeah, I'd highly encourage everybody to keep that on your mind and just take care of yourself. And this is the same thing like we doing with this. Start a network of people that you know around you. Let's talk about what doctor did what and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's keep each other informed when we come across good doctors, or when we come across doctors that they ain't really giving us the time of day, acting like we're not the experts of our own bodies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
gotta start some dialogue on that too. They're not gods.
No, no, no. Hey, they just people who got an extensive education.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can talk about education. That's a whole nother thing.
We think a lot about the black folks in general have been subject to tests and all kinds of stuff in the past where we don't trust the medical industry in any kind of way. I mean, just the Tuskegee experiment alone will stop you from trusting any doctor.
Man, Henrietta Lacks.
All of it. But there's a couple things you can do. If you don't trust something, then you start going and asking a bunch of questions and making some demands. You don't have to just avoid it. There's
Mhm.
a couple things you can do. So it's on my mind, man. But I'm gonna jump into the chat. We didn't talk too long about that. Marlon Harrison said, "Good morning, family." Side note: Paul, did you get my email about change of Omaha coming to First Sky to do an interview? No, I don't know if I got that email yet. I'll definitely check it out in a minute here.
Man, I
Oh,
just real quick, I want to give a shout out to Marlon. Marlon's been putting in a lot of work as far as spreading
man,
the First Sky Omaha name, and kind of trying to get us connected with people. Still got to reach out to North Star. Marlon kind of mentioned us to North Star, and they want to come on as well. So
yeah,
big shout out to Marlon. Big shout out.
shout out to Marlon, and he's also a content creator class cat too. So that's
Yeah, 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 yeah.
appreciate that. Mayor Sanchez in the chat. Good morning. Says Marines in like lightning and out like thunder. Hoorah.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Judy Prinzler says,
Hoorah.
"Morning, fam. I'm 2 weeks away from hip replacement surgery. Can't wait. Ooh,
Okay,
that's a big surgery right there, man.
it
I hope.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Take care of yourself. I know that you probably got a good team too, but man, yeah, we'll definitely be thinking about you while it goes on there."
Sound like she ready to cut a rug with her new hip.
Man, Kimmer Snipes says, I'm starting a 3-month policy cohort with Logier and Whites today. One Omaha is getting ready to dive into the advocacy space. Hey, it's a good space to be in.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's a good announcement right there. We'll have to talk
Yeah,
more
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Miss Erica Phil says, "I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. Thank you." Kimber Snipes says, "And just your sharing about it may encourage someone to go get it done." Yeah, I had to go back and forth about that too. I didn't want nobody to know my business when it came to that kind of stuff, but I figured we got a platform to tell other, somebody had to tell me, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell some other black folks, especially men,
Man, it's
especially older
powerful.
men. Go take care of yourself, man. Get it done. Wanda Lewis gives
Health
us
as well.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Also, Kimber Snipes says organizations need HSAs and need to contribute to them too. We need to talk about what HSAs are. Brother Stephen Abrahams in the chat says we made it through another rotation. Good morning, Grand Rising.
Hey,
Appreciate you. Kimber Snipes says, "Wow, that's super heavy. That sounds like some curriculum for Charles Drew." Man, I mean, we need to be talking about all of it for sure. She said that's why medicine is a practice. Right. Right, they ain't gods. Stephen
mm.
Abraham says, "Your health is your wealth." You ain't lying. You can't do nothing without your health. Tony Johnson said, "Funny how media referred to last night's shooting by a teenager as done in south of downtown Omaha, called it Little Bohemia or something like that. Something like they do North Omaha." Oh, I didn't hear about this. And yeah, Little Bohemia is definitely an area that we frequent. One of our partners over there at Tiny House has a bar
Okay.
over there at Little Bohemia. So interesting. We'll have to look into that. Wanda Lewis says their medical practice, keyword practice, right? Also, Kimber Snipes says HSA health savings account. Okay, look
Mm.
at that health savings account. Organizations need
Okay.
health savings accounts and need to contribute to them too. Yeah, yeah, that's what's up. We'll definitely look into that. I think health is definitely a subject that we need to be continuing to talk about. With this in the same way that we do other evergreen topics here on the channel. Because I really believe there's some conversations to be had. We have doctors in town that are serving North Omaha, serving South Omaha, serving Omaha. This is a medical industry town, and
Man.
everybody has a doctor. So let's start the conversation about who's doing what and who's and all of that. All that kind of pressure helps. So we'll talk about that. I think I'd love to pick that up as a subject as well and talk more about it, along with all the other
Mhm.
things that we're going to talk about. And we got a lot to talk about today. But first, we're going to go ahead and jump into the show, ladies and gentlemen. A fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning,
In the
Friday,
morning.
October 20th. Let's get it. Let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, want to thank everybody for showing up today. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio in the morning.
In the morning.
Yes, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Man, chat chimers are up early this morning, giving us some love.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Everybody's kind of got high energy on this Friday, October 20th. It's definitely a Haps edition, so definitely let us know what you got going on. Get your Haps together. We're going to be talking about it all through the show, but also a Haps section at the end of the show. We always say we'll have an extensive Haps at the end of Friday. It never gets that way all the way, but we're going to try it again today.
What's
We're going to try to
happening?
do our best. One thing I do want to say, tomorrow is the day. It is the last day of the
Man.
content creators camp. It's going down tomorrow at the Culture House. It is starting at 10 o'clock like it usually does. 10 o'clock at the Culture House. Last class. Keetran Zeichel will be your instructor. She's going to have a great presentation ready for us. And then after that presentation, we're going to hang out a bit at the Culture House for about an hour or so. So little
Man.
chat chimers kickback going on, which means that I want to invite everybody, not just the people who have been involved in the class, but also everybody here in the chat, all the chat chimers, any ghost listeners wants to come through and say hi tomorrow. The class goes from 10 to noon, and we'll be staying from like noon to 1:30, somewhere around there. So if you want to slide by, say hi, have a little bit of food or whatever we're gonna grab, and or if you want to bring something, even better. So yeah, come
Mhm.
on by. Let's have a little mini chat chimers kickback over at the Culture House. Shout out to Marcy Yates for allowing us to spend that time over there and do that. But yeah, last class tomorrow, 10 o'clock. We'll all be there. All the instructors that we're inviting all the instructors to come by as well. So all the instructors that have been a part of this, we're inviting to come by. Everybody who's been in the classes come by, and everybody who is listening to our voice right now, come on through and check out.
Yeah.
This is your chance to check out the Culture House, meet us, meet the class, all that good stuff, and have a good time and get a little bit of that presentation. We definitely got some stuff lined up for next year for some new classes, but definitely want to get your last little bit of glimpse of what's happening here today, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Love for you to come by and check this out. So anyway, we'll be talking about this throughout the class. Like I said, no need to even register at this point. Just come on through because it's
Pull
going to
up.
be a little bit of a chat chimers kickback happening tomorrow. So there it
Yeah.
is.
Living it live together.
I love it. I love it. Right on. Jumping back into the chat real quick, I see some people in conversation happening already. I guess that shooting happened over by Kimra. That's she said technically it's a little Bohemia area. She said it's a block away from your house that happened. Yeah.
Okay. I know you stayed around the way.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Kimmer says Children's Hospital has a brand new black doctor from out of state that is a director. Now, how come the World Herald doesn't share that? I know Terry Sanders will, and we will
Okay.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. See, you're saying exactly what I'm talking about. Like this stuff deserves some discussion. It is a headline for us, for the black
Oh
community
yeah.
to hear about this doctor that's coming. We should know who that doctor is. Invite that doctor on. All that stuff. So that's what's up. Stephen Abraham
Is
says maybe I can come on the show and talk about the educational components we've been doing for the community. Absolutely, brother.
okay. I didn't even know you're at UNMC now. Okay.
It's already see. It's already going. It's already organically happening right here. It all happens right here. First guy.
First guy gets down. Yeah, brother. Anytime you want to come on, let's set that up. Let's set
Definitely
that up.
set that up. Speaking of people coming on, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the news, break the news right now. Next Wednesday,
Oh
get your
yeah,
questions ready. Willie Barney's coming on. Get your questions, your comments ready. Get your head together. get all get all all the
yeah,
stuff together so we can have a productive conversation and boost to the roots season 6. We definitely want to hold people accountable, and we want to also honor them for letting them come on, coming on and answering the questions, knowing that we got a lot of questions and that we really want to talk and figure things out. So once again, we got a little time to do this. He's agreed to come on next Wednesday, October 25th, but he will be on the show. We kind of are going to halfway devote the show to him if
man. Yeah,
yeah, he
ask us
won't
to give him the
he
whole
won't be
show.
able to be on the whole show, of course, but he will definitely be on for a period of time that'll allow us to ask some questions and so on and so forth. So once again, we're going to drop this on Friends of First Sky Omaha and First Sky Omaha and all around today to get ready for next
Man,
Wednesday, the 25th. Brother Willie Barney is going to be on the show, and we'll definitely be talking to him soon as well. So once again, like I say, Haps Friday. So get your haps together. Let us know what's going on, and we're going to continue on to bring on the guests that we've been trying to bring on and keep having those conversations and everything else that was in your heart and mind too. We've been talking about health already, and already got Kimmer talking about the HSA. Brother Abraham wanting to come on, telling us about what he got going on, and some news about a black doctor in Children's Hospital. I mean, like it's all happening, man. I'm really excited about being able to jump into this subject because it's something that we really really need. We also we used to have people from Charles Drew on a regular basis, so
yeah,
get them back
yeah.
as well.
And Phil Rooney from Douglas County Health. I also been talking about him coming back
Yeah.
on, and then also I'm thinking, didn't Douglas County like recognize a connection between racism and health, like racism as a like health disparity or something like that? Yeah, yeah. There's a lot to be talked about. Again, what's going on with that whole plan?
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot of conversation to be had with that. We'll definitely pick that up.
There you go.
Um,
Well,
but I do want to pivot into the story
mhm.
if you're
Sure,
all
yeah,
right.
absolutely. I was just gonna say Wanda Lewis was gonna make. She said let's put it to task. 30 minutes, 20 questions next week for Brother Barney.
Okay. Hey, I'm with her though. She said make them count. Yeah, yeah. Emphasis on the word productive. Let's have a productive conversation, not just a bashing session. Let's get down to the nitty gritty,
There you
y'all.
go.
Thank you, Amy Holmes. She's in the chat saying racism as a public
Yeah.
health crisis. So again, yes, there's some validity to the conversation that we're having, and definitely more questions and conversation to have around that. But I did want to dive into the incidents from last night. Apparently, some chat chimers were close to the action, and I did come across a story and just wasn't sure if that will be something the chat chimers wanted to talk about, but let's go ahead and dive into it because it is connected to another story that we did pull in regards to what's going on with the whole new gun legislation in the city. So yeah, well, again, what is happening lately? There was again a police standoff, and which is interesting because I didn't gather that it was a shooting from the headline, but very interesting. Again, Omaha World Herald reports Omaha police standoff in Little Bohemia leads to arrest of teenager. Shots fired incident in Omaha's Little Bohemia neighborhood again led to a police standoff with two people and resulted in one being arrested. This happened about 10:40 p.m. on Wednesday. Police were called to a building at 1234 South 13th Street. Officers found multiple shell casings and were told two people were in an apartment within the building. Lieutenant Neil Bonacci, a police spokesman, said Bonacci said efforts were made by officers to get the two people to come out, but were not successful. Police then obtained a search warrant and a SWAT unit was activated, but the two people eventually came out of the apartment prior to the warrant being executed and SWAT arriving. He said police found a gun in the apartment during a later search. Later on, a 16-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of first-degree assault, discharge of a firearm near or at an occupied building, use of a weapon to commit a felony, and destruction of property. The second person, who was supposedly an older man, was released without charges. So again, it's looking like nobody was actually hurt, just a discharge of a firearm in an urban area. Of course, arrest, but this does bring about the conversation about gun control in the city and how this will this be a more frequent event. just what to expect from guns in our community in the future, especially with the changes in the state law and the implementation of what's being called constitutional carry. And it looks like Omaha police are already responding. KETV News 7 has reported that there are arrests being made already or for failure to disclose, again, after the constitutional carry law has gone into effect. This coming out of again recent news. Omaha police said in the 6 weeks since Nebraska's constitutional carry law has taken effect, they've arrested several people for failing to tell police that they have a gun on them when they're contacted. You may remember that Omaha police did testify against the bill, saying its implications for a bigger citywide issue. A misdemeanor charge laid out in the bill, still offering police some ability to deal with concealed guns locally. However, a new constitutional carry law on the books in Nebraska is a learning curve for both the public and police on how to deal with this, and again, how to just interact with basic everyday traffic stops. Captain Keith Williamson, who's with the Omaha Police Department, says you have the right to carry the gun on you, but you also need to let law enforcement know for their protection. Everything else, so that you have the firearm on you. Williamson leads the Omaha Police Department gang unit. Over the past several weeks, he's also spent the learning about LB 77 and its impact on policing and how that impacts, of course, his job. He says many people don't know that the law requires immediate notification and an ID, which can lead to citations. It's not uncommon, Williamson said. In fact, according to law enforcement booking information, at least one person has been charged with quote unquote failure to disclose a concealed weapon every day in the last week. So again, one person has been charged with failure to disclose every day in the last week. That's very interesting. It is a misdemeanor for the first offense, however, an elevated misdemeanor for the second offense, and a felony for any additional offenses after, again, your second failure to disclose. So very, very interesting situations. Is this heightening tensions on police stops? What say you?
Yeah, definitely want to leave it out to the chat. What do you guys have to say about this? There's been a lot of debate back and forth. We've had the senators on that voted one way about it. They had some reasonings for that, and we kind of dug into those reasonings. There's a lot of ways that it was going to be able to help some folks that might get caught up in some things, but it seems like it's going this other direction. Miss Erica Feld is the one actually that put this article in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and her comment was, "I was waiting for these. I was waiting for this to happen." So yeah, I kind of have the same sentiment. Here we go. I didn't realize that was that many people. It was a person a day that was getting hit with this
Man,
charge. And this also sounds
last
very
week.
three striking to me too. Misdemeanor, heavy misdemeanor, felony. You know what I mean?
Maybe expound upon that a little bit. Like I'm kind of curious as your feelings coming from California, and kind of knowing the history of three strikes, but for those who might not, can
There's
expound
a
on that a
lot,
little
man.
bit.
There's a lot. When Clinton was in office, he's the one that him and Biden implemented that three strikes law, and it hurt a whole lot of folks. I know that people that remember that when it came into existence, people were getting arrested for stealing a candy bar, and that'd be their third strike, and they'd be in jail for life over that. So I just noticed that like we always consider baseball such an America apple pie America type of sport, and it's really interesting to me that when that three strikes law got implemented, that that's where it felt like it came from, some reasoning like, hey, let's turn this into a game. I don't know how else to explain that, but it just felt like it was messed up. And I got friends and people that went to jail. They're in jail for life. Like I said, over a small thing that happened, they won't treat each individual thing like an individual thing. This thing kind of feels like that. I mean, every time any new thing gets implemented, it always feels like that to me. And there's and then also one more thought about that too is just the story you were reading before about the SWAT team that came out, and that always takes me back to California too. 'Cause SWAT was invented in California, and it was the first state that did the whole militarized SWAT situation, and now it's pretty much standard in every city. And it just it adds to that. I know it's kind of a side point, but it just adds to it for me. This whole idea
Yeah.
about policing and how people police and what it means and all the rest of that. So I mean, I feel like there's gonna be a whole bunch of SWAT teams kicking down doors all over the place with some of the aspects in the new law is gonna really be I mean, anytime you got any kind of law like that, it's going to first affect our communities first, and the first arrest. I'd be anxious to see who got arrested, who's the one people a day getting arrested for this.
It's a good point. That's a good point. We'll definitely love to see some demographic information on those arrests. I would also like to point out, the interesting kind of dichotomy in this, because we spoke to the senators who did say that they were open to the. I don't know if they voted on this or not, but they were open to it because again, how it might impact arrests, specifically impact arrests, and the reasoning that officers will have to stop, interact with, and eventually arrest young men of color over gun charges, quote unquote men of color. But it seems like it's kind of having a reverse effect. Again, one arrest for this every day over the last week. Is this a trend that we can expect to have continue? Very, very interesting to see how this is playing out and to watch how this is playing out. But a lot of people in the chat.
Yeah, I'm about to jump into that.
Yeah,
As
let's
a
go
matter of
ahead.
fact, also Miss Erica Phelps says race needs to not just be labeled but addressing healthcare. Oh, she was talking about what happened as far as race being a disparity. She says my son's father has locks and for the 2 months he was hospitalized for COVID, they would not let his hair be washed. Going back to that
Mm,
again, we definitely need to be talking about this and staying on it with each
mm.
other. Yeah, stuff like that is happening all the time as well. Anyway, Tony Johnson says makes you wonder if things would be different if sheriff supported OPD and mayor on this. Yeah, if sheriff and OPD supported the change in the law, what would happen there? Also, Kimber Snipes says you never heard people getting ticketed or arrested for failure to disclose before the law. So now that is what Leo Lewis and I were talking about this. That is what Leo Lewis and I were talking about this. Yeah. T. Riz says, I told you so. Kimmer says, I will send you the document that Williamson created and went over Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
Mayor Sanchez, when Civil War comes, Nebraska guns will protect against Iowa guns.
Hmm.
Interesting. I mean, Civil War is kind of undertone on a whole bunch of these subjects here. Really, I mean,
Really?
yeah. I mean, one of the reasons why I hear some people talking about the gun laws is because of that. Is because there's a history in this country of gun laws changing around that makes it so that people of color can't have them. And so and with the climate and the Trump effect and everything that's been going on this past few years, and the fact that we are, especially in Nebraska, we're surrounded by the most militant, the most hate groups in America. Then it's in the back of people's mind that little civil war is happening. What happens if you got a situation where nobody's allowed to have a gun for whatever reason? That's what people who are gun people are feeling like. They're feeling like, if you got one, I want one too. Let's not, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If what's the name can go down and get one easy, I want to be able to go down and get one easy too. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, what's happening more so is just everyday law enforcement, people riding around in cars, getting pulled over. Just everyday things that are happening, and how is that really affecting our communities first and foremost too? Ms. Erica Fell says misdemeanor with a firearm can be grounds for denial or losing employment,
Mm.
or SNAP benefits, or the right to vote, or a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
Wanda
Right.
Lewis says, I remember when the guy in Minnesota mentioned that he had a registered firearm when the police stopped him and they shot him dead for Philando Castile.
Yep. Yep.
Philando Castile was trying to pull out his permit to let them know he had a legal gun. So that's a lot of that came to mind when the constitutional carry laws came about. They remember, a lot of people remember that incident, even
Mm-hmm.
when you have a license. Let alone nowadays, you don't need one now with these new laws.
And you still let them. You still disclose, and yeah.
T. Ren says it wasn't going for help enough. People finding themselves in scenarios the senators pushed. Non-prohibited people were still going to face punitive, and now those charges will be enhanced.
Mm.
Like I said, we can't fail to mention some of the reasons why. There was also a situation where people, if they're in a car, they were getting arrested before. If somebody had a gun, everybody in the car got arrested, and there was some things about that was supposed to change up because of this as well. So it might be worth it to go back over some of the reasons why people voted for it, people didn't vote for it, some of the pros and some of the cons about the laws changing. But I have a feeling we're going to continue to talk about it because they have to make adjustments for this law all the time. It started
Yeah.
with Gene Stothard making adjustments. Now OPD is in on the scene. So we there's going to be some more discussion that has to happen here on this stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see.
Man, Kimra, she says, remind me to tell you about the time they showed up at my house because they had the wrong people at 6 o'clock in the morning. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I would feel that way too, man. We know too many situations, that people knocked on the wrong door, busted down the door, coming in on you, all that. I mean, you grew up in California, you got nightmares about SWAT busting down your door for any old reason. Or if you grew up in the 80s period, any state, just about knocking down your door, man, all the way back to, I told you I'm from the school of Fred Hampton, and they just barged up in his house while he was asleep and shot him.
Man.
So yeah, it happens. Tony Johnson says, let me see if I can catch the one up top. Truth about Biden nobody talks about. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go up a little bit further. Yeah, they're talking about that yeah. He says, or get defensive about like he done no wrong. Democrats still not atone for this. He still is not apologizing for it either. Clinton and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton at least came back and said they was wrong. They may have made a bad decision, but Biden really ain't said nothing about that either. And he was, and you can get clips of him going off about law and order.
Mm-hmm.
All he's gonna do.
Yeah, Tony Johnson also adding about the intent. He says they knew it would make departments money and increase private prison industry. They not stupid.
T. Ren said black people legit with their firearms now face enhanced penalties if stop and forget to disclose. It was bad bill all the way around. Yeah, it might have been some bad things to the bill. Like I said again, we'd be remiss to mention that there was some bad laws going on before that bill that the bill was trying to fix.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all peaches and cream before that either. Miss Erica Fell says there were also many who got life off their first incarceration because deputies guards set up fights, so they caught 2 felony assault charges with equal life sentences. She talked about that 3 strikes law in California. She said, I know 2 people that got life from less than 3-year terms because they got caught with a pen joint, cannabis, tiny cigarette while incarcerated. So even when you go in for 1 charge, stuff can happen inside and get 2 more charges, and then you're in there for life.
Mm-hmm. And like she said, there's people provoking you and setting stuff up like guards.
So they peeled back that 3 strikes law. They peeled that back, but there's still remnants of that kind of thinking all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca Johnson gives us a good morning, good people. Good morning to you. Appreciate you very much coming on in. Ms. Erica Fell says, I feel like it's just the extremists, the same who fight CRT, that talk about the need for guns against government. This is true. I don't know too many people in our community that's talking about stockpiling arms so they can battle the government.
No, that's that. Remember the Bundy cats out in North Dakota that had to stand off with the FBI, and it's those types of individuals, the rugged individualists, want to go back to the Wild West days.
And it's funny because the law enforcement will Wild West right with them back.
Yeah.
When it comes to us, they'll just bomb the city. They don't go back and forth with us. They just bomb the area that people that they living in, like the move situation.
Tulsa.
Miss Erica Fell says he worked with let's see. I'm trying to go back to it. She says, I feel like where were you at? I'm trying to say.
You
feel like it's just the extremists, the same who fight needs for government. She says he worked with children. He was a wonderful man. Are you talking about your father's son? Oh no, murdered in front of his daughter by the police. Philando Castile. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, man. He was trying to do the right thing, man. His daughter sitting in the back seat. Can you imagine if his girlfriend didn't have the wherewithal to hold the camera and show the whole thing, and try to be calm enough to show the whole thing, trying to save his life, and still right next to her gets shot. And like I said, he had a permit.
Did everything he was supposed to do.
Everything he's supposed to do. Kimmer Snipe says, grace of God, I stayed home that day because I didn't feel like going to work because my phone was home and he was like 16 years old. What happened? I missed something above that you were talking about. She said, "Remind me to tell you about the time I showed up at my house." Oh, okay. So, yeah, man. Wanda Lewis says they rather let the gun bill go through and take up a battle with the people who take advantage of the law. Hmm. So that's an interesting viewpoint there. They rather go ahead and push. Like we said, this gun bill was supposed to be solving some problems from before,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying what they should have did instead of put energy behind this gun bill that's supposedly going to solve the other problem, is just push down on people who are trying to take advantage of the law in the first place. Reason why we have the problems in the first place with this. It's an interesting viewpoint. Interesting viewpoint. Because right now it seems a little bit like this is causing the problems that I think people anticipated it would cause. This article that is talking about people getting charged with not disclosing is already the start of that. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Actually, according to this article, they are saying that one of the major difficulties that they're finding is trying to track guns that get into the wrong hands, and they are saying a lot of the arrests that they're making are with people that they know are gang members. Williamson said, "I see those reports from what my officers do know, and we are making arrests for that with people that we know are gang members." He also says, "I will echo that both our mayor and chief said we want more local control just to deal with the crime factors that we see locally that are different than other cities across our state." So apparently, the feeling is that although again the state law changed, that Omaha uniquely has a gun issue, and should have a unique approach to that issue. Is from what I'm hearing from both city council and now OPD.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know, man. Feels funny.
Yeah. Again, also just a reminder: the law requires a concealed handgun carrier to be 21.
So constitutional carry. Do you remember what the tenets of constitutional carry is? Does anybody remember what now that law that's in place now? First of all, what comes to my mind is you don't need a permit to buy a gun. You don't need a background check. You don't need to have a license. Am I wrong about that? Do I have that right? Somebody in the chat, let me know. I'm trying to figure out exactly again what this constitutional carry. I'm feeling like resetting, figuring out what that law is, so that we can look at what's happening after that law has been changed and figure out what some of these issues are. Because this first one is coming. If you don't disclose, and why wouldn't you disclose if you're allowed to have one now? So what? So it almost feels like a loophole or something.
Yeah, I mean, I had a relative who followed the law, had his firearm properly concealed, not loaded, locked away in the glove compartment, had his licensure and everything, and he still got his firearm confiscated. And this is right before the law changed, so it is, yeah, it's very interesting. I do want to see what are the details. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, it's something, maybe we should actually work with the BAA, because I do know that they have the gun club. That might be some education that we could be getting out to our community, to the young folk, to anybody who might carry a firearm.
Yeah,
Be aware of the laws.
I'm sure they're up on these changes, because that's a major part of what they're trying to do there. So Kimber Snipe says you still have to go to the sheriff's office and get a permit. I thought that was the point, was that you didn't have to get a permit. Like I said, we'll have to grab that and dig into
Yeah,
it a little
yeah.
bit again. They tried to write it into the law that you would have to go and take a class, but that didn't go over.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to look into the details. We'll
Yeah,
have the senators on Monday. Might warrant more conversation.
absolutely. Von Chapman in the chat. Good morning. He said it's funny how the right wing extremists who are gang members never get caught or mentioned when it comes to gun laws. That's what I was thinking too.
Hmm.
That's why I was like, I want to see who's getting pulled over for that. Because that there's there's cats, there's more of them rolling around with guns with them. Who what's really going on? We'll see.
Okay. Kimber's saying the permit is to purchase the permit is to purchase a gun, but you don't have to have a CCW to carry it concealed. So you have to go through. She's saying you have to go through the process to actually purchase a gun, or you still have to register it. You still have to get the background check. But as far as having a license to carry it concealed, which means like in a in a pocket, in a hoodie, in a holster with a jacket over it,
Okay.
concealed.
Yeah. No, I
Cause
appreciate the information.
yeah, as opposed to open carry, which you have to have it showing. You can still have it on you, but it has to be showing, or.
Oh, that reminds me. We were watching the legislature about that part. The main proponents for this was like, we're tired. We don't want people that are just wearing a suit jacket over their gun holster to say that they can get arrested for having a concealed weapon. Like the
Mhm,
whole purpose in wanting to change that law was so that the individuals that are walking around with a gun on their hip, if they have a suit jacket over that, then they can get popped for concealed. And so they wanted the law changed so that they wouldn't get popped for concealed weapon under their jacket.
hmm.
I remember that being a big point from the proponents.
Okay.
Miss Erica Phelps says, I would like the BAA to come in and instruct how to follow this law and minimize police problems. Note, I said minimize, not prevent. Yeah, I hear that.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Also, Kimra, I consider Kimra expert on this too because she's of that culture and she knows and she keeps up with that stuff meticulously. So we got a couple. I feel like we got a couple experts as chat chimers to bring on about these things. Let's go ahead and ask everybody to go in that direction. Let's look at that. How can we minimize the police problems according to the new laws? This is a good opportunity for some solutions journalism here on this topic. So. Appreciate that. T. Ren says unregistered guns are only a problem when the image of the person holding them changes. If unregistered guns were a problem overall, this bill would have never been thought of because that was the point.
Mm.
Hear that? File a media request to get numbers. File a media request to get numbers. Okay.
Okay. Maybe a FOIA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good idea. Kimber Snipe says, and if you purchase a gun in say Gretna, you don't have to register in Omaha. I've been a gun owner for a little minute. Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
don't want to put your business out there, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you're an expert in this, and I know you've been keeping up with the law and all that too. So any information we'll treat as that. Ms. Erica Phelps says the CCW permit required training. That is one reason I wasn't a fan of this law because carrying in public should take training, in my opinion.
Man, and that is something that I've talked about because I do have my CCW. I do not own a firearm, but I do, know how to use one, if needed. So yeah, I do agree that is something that I was looking at as far as the training portion of it. But again, yeah, I think we should just get familiar with the law as it stands, and not only the law, but again, how's Omaha specifically responding? Because again, there's the state law, and then there's a bunch of statutes and ordinances that have been changing in Omaha specifically as well. Kind of going to Kimra's point, she says if you travel with your gun, I still suggest you get your CCW for reciprocity reasons.
Yeah, I guess there is the existence of that license still exists. You can still go get it.
Yeah, and to Kimra's points, you especially if you're traveling state to state, like laws are different, depending on each state that you're in. So I mean, even traveling with the video equipment, coming to Omaha to do like they're looking at us like, what's in this? What is this case? What's in here? I'm like, it's just camera equipment. Calm down, but
Bro,
you know,
that's not even. Wait till I tell you about how I have to do to get into the jail to shoot. Like,
man,
can nobody go in there with a camera phone and get your footage because the camera phone is contraband. Like, like you talking about how they look at what's on you everywhere. It's a trip.
man.
It's a real trip. Rome's reviews, Mayor Sanchez is coming with an idea. Said wasp spray works good for non-lethal means of home protection.
Oh, okay. Don't
break into
Home
Mayor
Alone.
Sanchez home, bro.
Okay, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, that sound like worse than tear gas, bro.
Oh man,
get jacked up, burn your eyeballs out.
yeah.
South Jefferson, Nebraska is the home of the largest concentration of right-wing extremists, but the gun laws are designed to alleviate the preconceived fear white folks and the police have of black folks. Fear of the one we keep talking about.
Man,
that's and that goes back. That's history. That's history. First, as far back as I be studying this Black Panther Party and how the laws changed in California about gun possession because of how the Black Panther storm went up into the Capitol with the, you know what I'm saying? They went up into the state Capitol and stood on the steps with their rifles. Like, we got a right to have them. We studied the law. We're lawyers too. We studied the law.
Oh yeah.
And so they said, oh, you study the law? Okay, well, we're gonna change the law. They changed the law.
Oh,
And all of a sudden black folks can't have them, everybody else can.
man.
Kimber Snipe says that's the document from Williamson, the gang unit head. Which document are you talking about? Or were we talking about it? Miss Erica Fell says, my mother had her CCW in Oakland, Hayward, Portland, and Vancouver. She was trained by a sheriff to get it because she had homeless shelters in the 80s and early 90s.
Okay.
Von Chapman said bear spray works.
Bear spray.
Trying to melt people's face off. Wild spray, bear spray.
They sell at Home Depot. Where you get bear spray from?
Yeah. That's a good
Tiger spray.
They had bear spray. That's crazy.
Man, I'm saying.
See, that's just those black folks don't be in the woods, bro.
Man, need that mountain lion spray.
You need a white supremacy spray is what I need.
Hey.
7:51 right now. If you're believing the concept of time, we're gonna take a quick break, come right back and jump into some other topics. There's a whole lot to go today. And of course, this is Haps Friday, so get your haps together. We'll definitely be talking about some more haps very soon. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha Radio in the morning.
In the morning.
We'll be back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, Fresh Edition Friday. This is Haps Friday, as a matter of fact. Haps Friday right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And I really appreciate everybody that's coming through. Got the good ideas, man. The spray cans and all that. You guys gonna burn some eyes out. Don't break in Mayor Sanchez's house.
Gonna catch an iron to the face.
Man. He said, home alone. Hey, I just wanted to bring up, like I said, this is Haps Friday. I'm going to go ahead and jump into a couple of the haps that's happening. Man, DJ Jiki, we're about to talk to the legend, Curtis Blow.
Man.
Our partners over here at Omaha Performing Arts is having another hip-hop lab coming up. And, man, we're going to get some more information on this for sure, man. Legend in town. And our own DJ getting the jiki with it.
Yeah. Curtis Blow here to talk about the hip hop Nutcracker. I don't know if we'll promote that a lot of times back in the Minus Soul days. He keeps Omaha in rotation, man. This is like the third or fourth time I know he didn't came with the hip hop Nutcracker, and I actually hear good things about it. Man, that's definitely huge. Big shout out to OPA. I think they just had Light Pole, Marcy Yates, and High Tech, DJ High Tech on. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely shout out to OPA and Hip Hop Lab celebrating 50 years of hip hop the right way, doing it big, man, and bringing Curtis Blow, man, break it up. Yeah,
that's right. These are the breaks.
Yeah, man.
Let us know about your haps. Definitely get your haps together and let us know about what's going on. You can shoot it to us during the show. Put it on Friends of First Sky Omaha, or hit us with it at the end of the show. We have a little bit more of an extensive haps section at the end for sure. Don't forget, tomorrow is our final Content Creators Camp class at the Culture House, 10 o'clock.
Keatron Cycle's going to do the lesson, but we're going to stay about an hour afterwards just for a little Chat Chimers kickback. So we encourage everybody to come to this just to, say what's up, say hello. I want to bring something. If not, there'll be some things there, I'm quite sure. So, we'll just have a little Chat Chimers kickback after the class, but we highly encourage everybody who is within the sound of our voice to come on and check it out. Even though it's the last class, you'll be able to get some very good instruction and kind of get a feel about how we do things with the Content Creators Camp and what we're going and get an idea what we're going to do for next year as well. So tell a friend, bring yourself, anybody who has been a part of the class or taught the class or is a Chat Chimer or a ghost listener. We encourage you to come through tomorrow, 10 o'clock at Culture House and see what we got in store there. So definitely want to just big up that and make sure everybody knows it's not just going to be the class, but also a little bit of a Chat Chimers kickback tomorrow as well. So,
man, yeah, come live alive with us, as my man Paul B likes to say.
Hey, I like that.
Yes.
Moving on. What's up?
Mary Sanchez with these Home Alone tips. He's getting me, man. He's
Milwaukee, an electric battery Milwaukee nail gun works. Hey, I hear you, bro. Hey, everybody knows I'm not a gun cat, so I'm taking notes. I'm about to go check out the bear spray. Right? I got some roach spray around here somewhere. We'll see.
Hey, Javi Cabela's. Get your bear spray.
Hey, come on, don't break in Mayor Sanchez house. Man. He said I don't need a firearm. I have these sidearms. Mayor Sanchez got them hands. That's what's up. Jericho says Curtis is still in his feelings about Kumo D. I respect him though.
Oh, dang.
If you got beef, you got beef. Sometimes it don't go away. It's what it is. Hey. It's one of the first hip hop beefs ever, right there.
Man, well aged, turned into jerky.
No, it turned into compost is what that turns.
Okay.
Aged beef ain't no good. He said Curtis and Kumo D. You took it way back with that one.
Man.
She said I'll be there tomorrow. I got the car in reserve. That's what's up.
Okay. Yeah. Living the life together. Actually, I do want to hop into an article. I guess this is more of a conversation, Paul. The solutions oriented article.
Yeah.
Talking about again nonprofit journalism and just the wave, and we're actually having some conversations. Going to be building some things out. Definitely looking forward to leaning more into this, and just informing y'all more, the public. But again, this is a article talking about this from the Columbia Journalism Review. Talking about how foundation money is transforming local news. Again, with the loss of the Reader, we're still trying to reel from the gap that has been left from that. Again, we talked about recently the hirings of Chris Baby Boy Bowling and Carla Velasquez at the Flatwater Free Press. But still looking to build Black media and how to do that. Where are the resources in our community? And again, I know a lot of us aren't excited about it, but a foundations and nonprofit model seems to be working. And this is, again, a wave over the last few years. According to the article just a few years ago, the Cleveland Foundation, which is the oldest community foundation in the world with a $2.8 billion in assets, had never considered supporting local media. However, that legacy foundation is now seeking to enhance the lives of all residents of Greater Cleveland. Its grant tends to focus on job training, violence prevention, and education in majority Black neighborhoods. The organization's staff were well aware that the city's flagship newspaper, The Plain Dealer, was being stripped for parts by Advance Local, its corporate owner, and that nothing was filling the vacuum. But the aim was to solve the problem, not assign articles about them. Besides, even in more robust age of local news, the neighborhoods targeted by community groups were rarely covered in the press, except perhaps in the case of a grisly crime, much like what we see in North Omaha. Again, if it bleeds, it leads. Those are most of the stories that the Omaha World Herald will report on North Omaha. But what about the other stories that impacts those communities? So in 2020, when the Cleveland Foundation awarded money in an initiative called the Cleveland Documenters, it wasn't classified as a project then. And Documenters, which started in Chicago. Again, we recently lost our Documenters program, and hopefully we'll get that back here soon. But again, it started in Chicago and has since expanded into a network of 11 cities, not only including formerly Omaha, but also down here in Atlanta. That organization pays small fees to about 600 Clevelanders and not experiencing reporters, just curious citizens from every zip code to take notes at local government meetings and post them online. Dale England, who's the Cleveland Foundation's vice president for grant making and community impact, thought of documentaries primarily as a tool to improve low voting rates, which is definitely something we can use ahead of this election cycle. He went on to say, we don't call it journalism here, we call it information. And 3 years later, the idea that the community foundations don't fund journalism feels anachronistic as media companies slash staffs in search of higher profits at a time of even lower ad rates. Household name philanthropies of Ford, MacArthur, Knight are steadily increasing their spending on local news, and their regional counterparts are joining in. The American Journalism Project, which also funds our partners at Flatwater, of which I've consulted to newsroom structure and management, says the author, requires that a new publication establish partnerships with local foundations before it will even consider awarding funds. In its first 4 years, the AJP, as it's known, has raised about $134 million to back 41 local media organizations. It's a paradigm shift in the world of philanthropy. According to Loretta Chow, who's AJP's vice president for strategy and startups, she also said, what we're suggesting is that given that newsrooms are a part of the fabric of society, it makes sense that they should be a thing that philanthropists who love their communities also care about. So, again, this is a ever-changing landscape, especially in journalism. If you remember, several years ago, we had the Journalism is Activism course, and even this content creators camp that we've been pushing. Again, tomorrow, pull up will be the last one. We're going to celebrate this first iteration, but that is a part of that same wave. Again, trying to get everyday citizens into journalism, trying to find ways to fund it, not just, again, big advertisers who can kind of skew what is being talked about in the news. I'm very, very interested to see how this landscape of information is changing. And as for Sky Omaha, we're right in the middle of it. So, Paul, what say you?
I would like to dig in a little bit more because you mentioned something. The article mentioned something that you just read about the fact that there's some organizations out there that fund news right now that won't even fund it unless it's in their model to have foundations and nonprofit organizations fund the news. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think about all the time is everybody always is trying to act like, well, what kind of skew are you going to have if you have these nonprofit organizations paying for these family foundations paying for the news? Then how can your news not be biased? And every time I think about that, I'm like, what's the same problem that we had before when news was being paid for by advertisement? Big corporations was always trying to swing you to say something, and it got to the point where everybody feels like that's what happened. Luckily, being on the inside of what's been going on with the nonprofit news situation, we realize that these family foundations that are paying for news are doing it because they are seeing this now as a need, because of the fact that the fourth estate is going away in a lot of ways.
Man,
they see it as a need, but they don't have, they're not out here trying to tell people what to say and what to do. Normally, that's not really how the thing has been going, especially with how new this all is, because that's been a problem. That's been a thing. And we've had so many stories. We could actually be contributing to this whole story nationwide based on what happened just in Nebraska, just in Omaha with all this.
Yeah.
They talked about 2020, but we can go back to 2017, 2018 here in Omaha, when the 2017, as a matter of fact, 2016 even, because when the Mind and Soul Radio got started at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, it got started off of a Sherwood grant, and they presented it as an arts and entertainment situation. They were going to have a radio station, have a bunch of music on, and so on. They messed up and hired me as a program director. The first thing I did is decide that we needed to anchor the station in news, and so we started the morning show, which is now morphed into what we're doing now. But when we started the morning show, we started because we decided that we needed to anchor this thing in news. And then the very next money that we got from any kind of family foundation was because we had to convince people that the news from North Omaha was important. And so we actually were some of the first ones to get funding, nonprofit dollars for news in Omaha. And now it's branched in like what things are now. As you can see, Flatwater Free Press being on the forefront here, and not in an example for the country as well. I've really noticed and read some articles about that. So I think it's really interesting, like how things have panned out. The one thing I wanted to get to about this article before I jump into the chat, though, was I think that the solutions journalism tie-in is part of it. If part of the reason why these family foundations and other nonprofit organizations are paying for news is because they're like, well, we're not just going to pay for news to have Channel 7 type of news anchor type of situation going on. There's got to be some kind of solution to it. This is what happens with any nonprofit organization. They're there to solve a problem. So the solutions journalism switch that's happened along the same time, I think, is one of the reasons why they're feeling like it's important to fund nonprofit news now. So is what it is. When we think about our budget and the things that we're trying to do too, we're trying to stay 75% for profit. It doesn't make any sense for us not to put in at least 25%. That if we're involved in news, the new model is nonprofit dollars. Not to the point where we want to depend on it, but we can't leave that money on the table like that. It's just now, it's the thing now. That's how it gets paid for, more than advertising and all the rest of it. So I think that that's very important, and there's a lot more to break down and discuss on this.
Oh yeah,
but that's kind of the thing that's on my mind. I think Sean McCarthy is the one that put this article in for the first Sky Omaha, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
He's in the chat saying, I don't even think the Omaha World Herald has a cops reporter anymore, meaning they primarily just rely on the press releases from OPD. So basically, they're just regurgitating the OPD's point of view.
Right.
These are some of the problems.
No real critical thinking, no, real critical questions being asked, reading between the lines, which is actually kind of what tomorrow's content creators camp class will be about, recontextualization of stories, reading between the lines, pulling out different things from the stories, and not just seeing the who, what, where, when, why of a story, but what is the actual story, like what's really going on, what's being talked about. And that's kind of, where we exist as far as the media landscape. But
sure.
Right. But to Sean McCarthy's point, it's not just cops reporters. I mean, and it's not just the Omaha World Herald. We are in the middle of a information revolution, if you will, especially with the implementation of the news or social media in the news. Again, we talk about a lot of times with you all. How do you get your information? Where are you getting your news? And we kind of go back to 2020 when a lot of these organizations were getting funded for the first time. What was happening? The George Floyd Freedom Summer was happening. What was a big part of that? The people on the streets with their phones during the reporting, really giving you kind of a firsthand experience of what was going on outside during the pandemic when everybody was locked up. How was the information being spread? It was from citizens, people on the streets with their phones. That has completely changed the whole landscape of news and information. Which is very, very important. One thing I also did want to point out in this article was the fact that, again, there was a distinction made between news and information, which was kind of very, very near and dear to our hearts about how we viewed ourselves. Because to be honest, as two artists, we didn't really want to. I don't want to be Walter Cronkite, or you know what I mean. Like I don't want to be.
I want to be interviewing Curtis Blow. We on the wrong show.
Man, we'll kind of want to have a little more fun with it, but we do know that people need this information, and we kind of find ourselves in a position to be able to disseminate it and kind of facilitate those conversations. So I did find it very interesting. Again, from the Cleveland Foundation's vice president for grant making, saying we don't even call it journalism, we call it information. Again, kind of breaking it down to its most common denominator. What it's not just the dog park that's just launched. Like what is the real information that people actually need and can use?
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't get into it too much. It was the title had more information on the solutions journalism part. But I feel like that's really when I started reading it, that's what was coming to mind to me, is that people the need for solutions journalism. It's a different kind of journalism. You don't just want to know what happened. You want to know what can we do about it. And that's what this comes from. It's a different way of presenting news, and I feel like the implementation of that was real organic. It started happening right as all these foundations decided that they wanted to help make sure that they because now you're not just out here talking about what happened. You're actually saying what are they doing similar in other cities that might work for us, and so on. So all the tenets of solutions journalism is really kind of helping, because if you don't find a solution to any of these problems, then you're just reporting the problems. People are still too tied to the old system of the reporting the problems. It's just the information's out there. It's just information, and that's fine that we can call it that. But it's not just information. It's also us reading between the lines. It's also us having discussion about it, and it's also us looking for solutions about it. And that's the big deal. Jumping back real quick in the chat, Von Chapman says Mildred Brown could walk and chew gum at the same time and printed good and bad news in the Omaha Star. I know because I worked for her back in the day. So again, the Omaha Star has switched over to this idea that only good news is really going to be featured in there, and that's great. There's a lane for that. That leaves a lane open for people who are going to print more what they call straight up, hardcore news, which is all the information, the who, what, why, where, and so on, but in a different way, in a way that we can now that now holds the tenets of what we call solutions journalism, number one, and also with unfettered from big corporations, really trying to lean on your ad dollars and so on and so forth. Like there's other means of sources of income, not to mention memberships. Memberships is something that was you were basically a member when you bought a paper, when you subscribed to a newspaper, and it got sent to your house back in the day.
Yeah,
and there was not enough money going to that situation in order to sustain. They had to use ads, and they had to use everything else in order to be able to pay reporters to do the things they do. Now there's a whole new source of revenue coming through, and a new style of revenue too, with the fact that there's subscription models. Everybody's used to paying for Netflix and all that. By the way, Netflix just went up to like $24 or something like that. I think dumb shit, bro. But yeah, I wouldn't be investing in Netflix right about now. But the whole point is people are used to these subscription models all over the place, and this is the reason why the New York Times survived, because they switched to digital, they switched to content creation, and they switched to having an extensive newsletter, putting out video clips, doing all the things that we call new media, the stuff that we're trying to teach in the content creators camp, the stuff we're trying to use. Live streaming, all the things that they're doing on top of their paper, and then they have a heavy, extensive membership model, and they jump into projects that can be funded by other entities. So if you don't have these models, it's not going to work. We've been studying this for years now. Yep. We've been writing plans to put these things together. We're right on the verge. 2024 is going to see finally us being able to do some of this stuff that we've been working out and planning. Because the bottom line is you got to have the reporters to report the news. It's got to be news that people is relevant to the people, and you got to be able to pay for them to have living wages in order for them to spend that time to do that deep dive type of journalism, investigative journalism, solutions journalism, and documentation. All those things you need manpower for that. And you need manpower. It's just like any business that you run. You got to be able to pay your people. Give them health insurance. We talk too much about living wages on this show to not pay somebody a living wage when we get a chance to. We got to. So, the trick is to figure this out, and the solution for us has to do with content creation. We have to mix the genre of content creation, people using their phones and their YouTube channels and stuff to monetize their life, and make that a part of how news gets paid on top of all the other avenues here that are here, especially this whole foundation money. That's a huge deal. So there's a lot of stuff that's popped up around that. We can have Matt Wynn or somebody on to talk a little bit more about nonprofit journalism as well, like how that affects newsrooms and so on and so forth. But it's an interesting subject that is here now, and it is what it is. And we kind of have been a part of that. Miss Erica Fell says, I know from interviews I've been in, news is made oftentimes just as promotion for agendas and products disguised as investigative journalism, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why people don't hardly trust it. Tony Johnson said North Omaha nonprofits can't even put out monthly newsletters on what they do. Not best group to learn from is on the nonprofit. Yep. I know there's some nonprofits out here that are not just putting out a newsletter, but a whole magazine. So it depends on what we're paying attention to as well. T. Wren says folk can barely afford a roof and food. Beyond some well-heeled black folks finding extra income to support every venture, though, thought of as unrealistic. Nonprofits fill a gap no matter how opportunistic. Deep statement. Deep statement.
Deep statement.
It's that's what we call a nuanced statement right there. That's where we need to show. This show is this show. That's if anybody wants to know how we categorize this show. It's a nuanced show. We are not hard on one side or hard on the other side, and any of those things. We have to work out what is the deal in a deeper way, and that requires us to look at all sides. But Sarah Phillips says, heck, I was on KETV last week just to promote flu and COVID immunizations. They won't just say that because I sure tried to get the reporter to just be honest. So I liked her, but shake my head. There was an agenda.
Of course, there's an agenda.
Gotta be. How do you pay for things if you know? Kimber says, I remember going up on Mind and Soul and not knowing who Paul was. He was always super quiet and hardly said a word. Yeah, I was the behind the scenes cat all the way up until. When did I jump on? I think it was because we switched to you and Michelle at one point. Yeah. I was still the engineer when it was Buddi and Michelle and in Mind and Soul. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be out in front either. But you know, that's because I'm not a journalist, man. I'm here trying to facilitate some conversations. Mm-hmm. That's what this changed to us for me. Tony Johnson says news and commentary, different things. Very true. We need both. We need all of it. We need news and commentary. This is not a news show. This is a commentary show.
Right. To that point. And also, I do want to point out to that also, they recognize the documenters in this, which is not necessarily a news organization either. You know, they're just there to document and you know, kind of tell what it is. And then that can turn into news stories. And then there's the portion of advocacy to this as well. So again, it's growing beyond news. Like that whole landscape is revolutionizing how people are viewing information, taking in information, and then deciding what to do with that information. I also wanted to point out, as far as the solutions journalism point, there's a element of healing in that as well that I definitely want to recognize, because with a lot of the if it bleeds, it leads, who, what, where, what, it's very traumatizing. Like, let's just call it what it is. A lot of people they stop watching the news because it's just so traumatizing, and it's often leaving you with just compounded trauma, replaying the police shooting videos, replaying the violence, and not really giving you any solutions, any hope at the end of it. So there is an element of healing that we like to get to, because we want to talk about the films and art and the higher things of life that you just can't get to because we're so traumatized.
Yeah. Before I get to the chat here, I just want to kind of reiterate the points here. News. We used to have as a matter of fact, we still kind of got a problem with the word news, because it denotes a certain way, certain thing that people are used to watching TV or watching Channel 7 or whatever from all the way back in the day. But to me, for me, learning what I'm learning that there's documenters, which is a information side of journalism. There's a news side of journalism where they're writing the who, what, where, when, and why on a subject that they think is important and relevant. There's investigative journalism where they have to actually deep dive and look at data and try to get in and talk to folks and so on and investigate a situation that's trying to be hidden. There's solutions journalism, where now we're looking at a problem in the vein where we're going to be trying to find solutions to them, look at other areas that had the same problem, what they did, if it worked, all the tenets of solutions journalism. There's commentary, where we are now analyzing these things, and we have opinions that we're going to put out about these things. They call it editorials. It's always been there. They have to label things editorial, so you don't think it's actually hard news. It's actually a reporter's opinion. We even have active journalism and activism. So that's the part that Buddi, you were just talking about advocacy and about writing a story and speaking up against a thing and writing some details on a thing because you were railing against it, or you're for it because of the fact that you are an advocate for it, or you're an activist for it. So really, I just named 6 things. I'm sure there's more. And my point is, this is the kind of stuff that's happening all over the place. And the change in news is happening because those places that are well-informed places are engaged in all these different tenets of journalism. That the 6 I just mentioned are just probably there's probably more. But the point is, like, now that makes me look at like how much North Omaha black community is lacking with news. Even when like Noise was up and running, Noise was hard news. Sometimes there was also a lot of commentary there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also I can add a seventh one. There's also the news of good news, like how Revive
Profiles.
magazine is and how the Star is and so on. So there's also that. There's also the upbuilding good news as well. And then there's the different styles of news, which is broadcast news on TV, the way that radio news works, all these different ways. And there's all different kinds of articles, kinds of different ways. Can you imagine if we tackled one issue with all the 7 things I just said?
Yeah.
How informed would we be in order to try to make some kind of change
on that one issue?
On that one issue. Shout out to Joaquin Fox for suggesting this vision of like all these different flavors for an article. Everybody is needed. When you say it like that, we need 10 or 12 more news entities out here in order to really report black news or really report news from North and South Omaha in a way that is a complete way that'll get to what you're supposed to get to, which is some kind of solution, some kind of action. So it's really interesting to me. So I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick. That Miss Erica Phil says you'll see news about childcare with no mention of upcoming research studies, or that's another tenet. Studies and research, upcoming research studies and funding. But yep, within days the study or funding is released. The news article was too prime public for what's next. Was to prime public for what's next, right? That's what it was for, to prime them for what's next, an agenda there. Von Chapman says controlling messaging is the motivation by some organizations who contribute to some media. That's true. It's true now. Some organizations, nonprofit organizations, do that. Corporations do that. Everybody does that. It's the integrity of the news channel that we have to trust.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of trust going on there, for real. Sean McCarthy says, and like food deserts, there's a ton of new news deserts out there, meaning cities that no longer even have a daily newspaper. Pittsburgh and New Orleans don't even have a daily newspaper anymore.
I mean, Omaha came close. A few people had to come in and swoop in and save the Omaha World Herald.
Warren Buffett didn't come in and just drop a bag on them. They'd be done. They just this year had to let 10 or 12 people go. They're still letting people go. Major, not just, it used to be small town papers went away. When you talk about small town papers,
man,
organizations like Flatwater Free Press give their information away for free so that small town news organizations have something to say, because their news organizations have gone away in small towns. And we just talking about small towns. That's 2000. That's old news. That's 2020 news. 2023, Omaha World Herald, the major papers in cities are on the verge.
Man, and I just want to kind of pivot also this conversation to the fourth estate. Like, what does that mean if we don't have these papers? And we're going to talk about this Pillen article here in a bit, because it's again, it's the very thing we're talking about playing out in real time. You know, a nonprofit newspaper, i.e., Flatwater Free Press, being the fourth estate, recognizing what government is doing, calling them out, holding them accountable, and now Governor Pillen is making national news, but how he responded. But again, the fourth estate can't, like, what does that mean? You know, what type of corruption is going on in cities like Pittsburgh and New Orleans if there aren't entities to hold them accountable, to let people know what's going on?
Yeah, man, we'll jump into that in a second. Tony Johnson, in the meantime, says, flip side, looking at viewer numbers, North Omaha may just not be interested in these community shows. How can that be changed? I think North Omaha sometimes it depends on style. We definitely know that we got a certain style with ours, and that attracts some people and detracts others. But there's other shows out there. Hood Table is a perfect example of another style of show that's talking about Omaha news, North Omaha news, that thousands of North Omaha people tune into. We've been threatening to have the Hood Table on this show, and we go on their show just to talk to the different audiences. We will have to do that again. But the hunger's out there, bro. The hunger's out there. It's just a matter of how and how much money we can get behind putting it down, and so on and so forth. Tony Justin says the feel good news of Omaha Star is not centered locally. Most articles are outside. Free articles cycled around. Omaha Star says they have a large membership. Issues seem to not have business mind to manage money and create things. I think they're working on it. I think they're definitely working on it. Von Chapman says, as a result, subscriptions to the Omaha Star has fallen substantially. Omaha Star is definitely a legacy paper that is going to always have a certain subscribership. But they're trying to also reach some different demographics, some younger demographics, and so on. And that's tough for everybody. Middle Passage. I don't think I've seen this name before on YouTube. Appreciate you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Do you think progressive news outlets such as Democracy Now!, Pacifica News, and The Intercept are good templates for Black journalism to follow? I absolutely do. When we were doing Mind and Soul over at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, one of the shows that we brought in every morning at 11 o'clock was Democracy Now! And I remember Brother Taylor.
Man, rest in peace.
That was one of the Brother Taylor, rest in peace. That was one of the biggest compliments he gave us, was that that's a quality news program that you guys brought in with that Democracy Now! That was one of the biggest things he said to me that I remember him praising us for. Yes, I definitely think that there is there's a room. There's all, like I said, we just went over 6 or 7 different tenets that we could be that we could have that we need out here for Black journalism. For sure. Democracy Now! Is definitely one of the good examples. Pacifica News is another example too. They've been rocking real hard since the 70s. I actually went out to their headquarters in California during the Mind and Soul days, trying to connect with them. And they're based out of Iowa.
Man.
And so, yes, we were right before that program stopped. We were right on the verge of connecting with Pacifica News as well. We were about to start bringing in that news. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on out there that we can take examples from, for sure.
Yeah, and we're kind of connected. Like, there's a couple stories that we would talk about on our morning show on Mind and Soul, and then right after, Amy Goodman will be talking about a similar story, or if not the same story. So there's definitely connection there. Great question.
Yeah, very much so. Also, Sean McCarthy says creating content is also just a part of the equation. The challenge is getting everyday users to read these sites on a daily basis, just like how our folks used to read the newspaper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because nothing has changed. It's just the medium has changed.
Right.
People are still reading every single day. We started the classes that we were doing this time. The 12-week course we were just on was called the journalism class, basically. And we said, nah, man, we gotta represent this new style, because we did a little bit of a survey where we said, how are you getting your news? We went around, kind of informally asked people that, and we come to the conclusion that how we get our news is we see a little thing on TikTok or Instagram, we see something on Facebook, somebody put something out. It could be a meme, it could be a little bit of a news clip, it could be something, and that's generally how we get it. We see that, and then we kind of gravitate to our trusted news source to verify it. And now we know, and it wasn't because we read an article in the newspaper. We heard a clip, we heard somebody said something on Channel 7, and we went and looked. That's kind of how this is working nowadays. So that means that everybody who's reposting is a content creator, is a news person. If we can try to funnel the tenets of journalism into content creation, then that, to me, so that when you do see those clips on TikTok, it's a trusted source.
Mm-hmm. There's integrity.
There's some integrity there in the news. We have to meld these things together, because that is how people are getting their news. Yeah. It's going away that you would read long form articles on actual paper. It's even going away that you would read long form articles on electronic paper, on digital, right?
It's mostly video.
Mostly video. So I mean, we have to have it all. You don't take one away in order to. It's not like we're going to take away long form articles for short video clips, and that's how we get news now. It's something that has gotten added on, right? And it's added on so that we can have some kind of we can basically we're looking at headlines all day, every day,
right? And to Wanda Lewis's point, right along, she says, I just canceled the Omaha World Herald yesterday after they went from $4.99 to $10.99, and recently $21.99 came out of my account. I get most of my news elsewhere, such as TV, chat chimers, and Facebook. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
We'll tee up that next article real quick while I go through a couple more things here. Tony Johnson, T-Ren is in the chat, says, once pressure is put on nonprofits to be really transparent and show their work, mayhap attitude towards them will change. Maybe the attitude towards them will change, but in the meantime, I'm not rejecting them altogether. Neither are we. Von Chapman says the new business era the new businesses are required and will need to post the fact that they have business in local paper. Not sure if the Omaha Star is prepared to service the new businesses. Oh, that's true. I mean, there's Omaha World Herald is still here. It's still a thing. I mean, there's still some things that we haven't talked about that really. We haven't gone into that. There's some things that are supposed to have public notice in your major paper, and things like that. Who's servicing those things? When you think about what news actually services in a city, it's a lot. It's way more than the 6 or 7 things I'm talking about.
Right.
It's this Tony Johnson's problem with people like Joaquin not consistently creating articles. Too much talk, no action. Folks not leading by example. I don't know. I think what Joaquin is doing a lot for having to also work. I mean, we're in the same boat. We have full-time jobs too while we're trying to do the news. Unless you get into a situation where you are being paid to be a journalist, then you got to do what you can do. So, yeah, he said everybody has vision for a new actionable game plan. I hope we can get to some. Also, he says right-wing Nebraska not struggling much using local media while creating own media. Jump on X or listen to podcasts. Yeah, right-wing Nebraska has some things, some infrastructure there for sure. We just talking about the KFAB situation.
Isn't there a senator that's buying rural radio stations and stuff left and right?
Oh yeah, there is. Right. Fortunately, it seems like he's actually trying to be pretty transparent and allow for those organizations, whoever he connects with, to do some transparent, real journalism. But yeah, his politics are Republican, and he's buying up a whole bunch of situations. That's the other part. You guys know about how many newspapers and radio stations and TV stations get bought up all the time, and how many corporations own hundreds and hundreds of entities. Like, you ever seen those videos where somebody got a headline and they realize that every news outlet in the country is doing the same headline,
man,
with the same language and everything?
Oh yeah.
Von Chapman says, I came across KFAB after listening to them. I wonder why their style was so popular. Then I remembered it's Nebraska. Yeah. KFAB is what Rush Limbaugh used to be on, bro. It's built for that.
Oh yeah.
Built for that. Lots more stuff going on here. I really appreciate that. Everybody jumping into the chat on this. Good morning, Brooke. I appreciate you coming in. Tough Anderson, I'm seeing in the chat. One outlet cannot be the answer to everybody. That's right.
Right.
Yep. Right-wing rule has money. Very true too. That's just they get to control the narrative. That's one of my favorite writers, Toni Morrison, is talked about what she always talks about, what she calls the master narrative. And everything that she ever wrote was so that she can buck against the master narrative.
Man,
and that has been a tenet for me, and the reason why we do this stuff, because it's about the narrative. If you're a major news outlet and you decide that you don't have no ties in North Omaha, so all North Omaha is some story to you, then you're gonna paint it in a situation, and that's gonna become the master narrative for Nebraska. So there has to be somebody that comes along and says, I reject the premise of your narrative, and actually this is the story. This is the narrative. And that's the struggle. That's what we're trying to do. So moving along, 8:33 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, I see, Buddy, you deep in looking at the article there or the chat. Yeah. Anything standing out to you in the chat?
Pretty much covered everything. Just making sure we didn't miss. Kind of looking at comments about KFAB, divorce attorneys and erectile dysfunction ads. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
T Ran also did jump out. Kind of my thoughts. He says I read old Omaha Star papers, like decades old, like night and day from Omaha Star today. But 1-2 people trying to run a whole entity can only do so much, which is is the reality of the situation. When everyone keeps saying Omaha Star, I'm just thinking Terry Sanders. You mean like Terry Sanders? Like it's really just her there. I mean, there's a few people, but right. Let's be honest about the capacity, which is a part of why we're doing this training. Like it takes time to build this thing. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. And also, the reason why you might think we are trying to we soft on the Star, but the Star is a legacy paper, and yes, we are soft on the Star. The Star is a paper that is struggling like every other paper is struggling and still hanging in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. We can't. The numbers are bad for the Star. The numbers that they ain't the only ones. Everybody's numbers is bad when it comes to news. So we just went to an event at Benson Theater where they showed a film about a small town paper that came down to one woman running it, and everything she had to do in order to create news for that paper and get it printed. And it reminded me that this happens all over the place. This happens with everybody that's in it, black, white, and otherwise. News is how do you fund news? How do you fund news these days? Who is reading the paper these days? Von Chapman says that he looks at the news on his phone every day. In the chat, that's just what's up. Tony Johnson said he just looked at hood table numbers. He said not thousands, hundreds of that. He says top views are still team videos for them. Team videos, so not news. Their whole deal is not hard news. And if I gave you that impression, that's not what I meant. They're an organization that discusses the news, that discusses things going on in the hood, like we do in a different style. He says news episode, same numbers as this show. Yeah, I mean, we have built what we've built organically, and that's really kind of what the deal is, because we're a discussion show. It's a different situation. But everybody's been trying to get us to move into this era of news. We know that we needed a news desk all the way back since the Mine and Soul days. When we helped put Noise together, Noise was a entity that was supposed to be that news desk for us. It didn't turn out that way. So here we are still in the same boat. Terry Sanders needs reporters. We need reporters. Flatwater Free Press needs black reporters. Omaha World, he needs black reporters. Everybody needs black reporters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right now we don't have them. We have to train people and get to that situation.
And really, here's the thing. Like, one thing about journalism is one of the only professions that's acknowledged, created, really recognized in the Constitution. Like, everybody could do it. Everybody has the freedom of press. You know what I mean? So if there's some stories that you feel like need to be, write them.
Yeah.
Because we're looking for people to write them. Like, we need people to write them.
I mean, I guarantee you, and there's even supports out there to help people write journalistically as well.
Yeah.
Even you just kind of write. We can direct you to some folks that can help you turn it into an actual article that can go somewhere. But again, journalism is a trade. Journalism is a career. Do you have time? Does your circumstances allow you to do any kind of deep dive article? Or, I mean, people got a whole bunch of time to write their opinion about stuff all the time, which they do on social media every day on their own pages.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you dig into information that can help everybody and move the needle and all the tenets of actual journalism? How does that actually work?
Right.
Yeah. Some people in the chat saying that they buy the Brooks says the only newspaper I get is the Star. People are saying they renew the Star. They're renewing their application to the Star. She said, just got my email with the bill for the next year of the Star. Yes, I'm renewing my subscription. There's a lot of value with the Star. There's a lot of value with that particular lane. Sometimes we think of the Star as like the rival to the Omaha World Herald. The World Herald's got all these different things going on, not just the good news stories, but they also even though they letting go a lot of journalists, they still got they got a lot of journalists over there still writing stories and digging in and getting the stories. So I think the Star has a lot of potential to grow. I think Terry Sanders sees that the 3.0, what she calls upgrade of this. She's definitely going into the digital realm as well, trying to reach you on your phone and you're on the podcast and so on and so forth. Again, I look at it like I wish we had the means to support better. Because I think that she's definitely now that she's working on it, there's some things there that can happen for the Star. But again, man, she's in the same boat as we all are. Which we need help.
Yeah,
we need help. She needs help. Everybody needs help. So where can we get it? How can we get it? How can we make that happen?
And I want to put this idea on the table too as we kind of wrap up this conversation. And it's just an idea. I mentioned it to you, Paul, and I do kind of want to get what the viewers think about, or would y'all be open to tax dollars, state support going to news, especially if we're looking at it as a fourth estate? Like we pay for the other states, we pay for the other branches of government. Just a thought.
I immediately thought, do we want the state paying for news? Here's the thing. As soon as you think of who pays for news, for some reason our mind jumps to, oh, if they're paying for news, then they're the ones that then you got to do what they want you to say. So if the corporations are paying for your ads, then you're a corporate
newspaper, right?
Lack of a better word. If the Sherwood Foundation is paying for your news, then you're tricking for the Sherwood. You a trick for the Sherwood. You know what I'm saying? Like you getting your money from them, so now you got to do what they say. They say that about corporations. They say that about nonprofits. They're gonna say that about the state, for real. I mean, anytime you ever hear about state-run media, what does that conjure up? Iran and all kinds of places that will shut your station down if you say something they don't like. So the question is, how can we independently own news? How can the people own news?
The people are paying taxes. That's my point. That's my point. But yeah, I definitely understand the concern. I mean, but again, that goes that goes for everything.
Yep.
Well, yeah, just a thought. Just a thought. I'm laying on the table. Just a thought. I'm laying on the table.
Okay.
Pick it up and leave it there.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Tough Anderson saying governor uses your state money to pay for Nebraska guards to go to the border. $500 a month from thousands of nonprofits go a long way. Tony Johnson says.
Okay.
Vaughn Chapman says, I have a subscription to the Omaha Star as well, and hoping someone will help the Omaha Star again be the complete voice of the Black community. We've been working on some behind the scenes ideas, man, in order to try to fund all this stuff and make all these things happen. A lot of people got some good ideas too. A lot of it is really going to just take us really all kind of getting together, because like I said, we could have 10 more entities out here and that would still be enough to really cover, what we need to be covering here as far as news. Marjorie MS, good morning, says just a reminder that KPOW, that's not a new name, that's Squad right there. Just a reminder that KPOW, the Knowledge Network, and Nebraska Public Media exist. Happy to share what I know about KPOW. So the KPAO is our TV station. What's it called?
Public access
channel. Thank you, on TV. That allow you, the public, to go and do shows. And I mean, it can be a whole news show on there. There's other ways to get things out, of course. So yeah, we would definitely love to know about those things. I think the Knowledge Network is based out of Metropolitan Community College. So MCC has a channel. I remember that. There's some TV channels out there. There's some outlets out there. Omaha Star is an outlet. Our video channel is an outlet. Right. PayPal is an outlet. Lots of outlets. Not a whole lot of people writing articles and putting news pieces together to put on those on those places.
Right. That's the resources create.
Right. So yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's comments on that. And good morning, Mark.
Oh, not to mention also, I do want to point out Miss Chambers, Miss Gayla Chambers, and the Ernie Chambers Network. They have some health news and some things that's been discussed out of there as well. So yeah, we're not hurting really for platforms. It's just who's creating the content, who has the resources, who's creating the content. There's platforms out there.
I had one meeting with Miss Chambers. You know what she asked for? Do you have any connections to any Black journalists?
Yeah.
I need help with Black journalism. That's what I need help with.
Yep.
Same thing everybody's asking for. So first things first for us, I mean, we kind of jumped to the outlet side, but we had to peel back and be like, we got to do some training here first. We don't have people that have access to our neighborhoods that have the skills to be able to put some news out, so there it is. Josh Chag in the house. Good morning, man. Good morning seeing you.
Hey.
Says, I wish KPOW would embrace modern social media. They can apply their technology and know how to platform people actually watch. I was thinking, is it Omaha Magazine or one of these major magazines out here has an actual show on KPOW? I believe it's Omaha Magazine, is it?
Possibly.
Yeah. So, yeah, she said, I almost forgot. Margie said, almost forgot Do Space has a free podcast recording room.
Okay.
And wait a minute, what you on there pushing Do Space for? This is Webberize that we talking about right here. This is Squad. So Webberize has a podcast studio that you guys can go to and get some professional podcast work done. Everybody knows that podcast reaches a lot of people as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely part of the news outlet family now, podcasting as well as radio, as well as TV, as well as live streaming and so on. So again, outlets compared to content. Really, we live in an era where everybody has an outlet on your phone. Everybody has an outlet.
Yeah.
Everybody can push out news. The question is, what news you pushing out?
Right.
Happy Friday, Squad. That's what's
up.
Squad. Let's move on to that article, man. It's 8:45 already. Before we run out of time here, I want to get to some haps. Yeah. Please jump in there and tie that article in that you were looking at earlier.
Yeah, man. Talking about again the fourth estate, nonprofit news, the impact that it will have with its presence and the impact it could have with its absence, especially again keeping government accountable. If you haven't been paying attention, Flatwater has been doing a series of reports on nitrates in the water, and a recent report naming the governor as a culprit in a major nitrate scheme. Again, reports as detailed as people on his farms, the Pillen family farms, the largest hog empire really in the state, pushing PVC pipes of pig waste into freshwater reserves. Again, just egregious. I think 12 different entities having violations across the state as far as nitrates and wastewater usage. And now the governor is responding to those reports, trying to discredit the reporter. We talked about that again. Yang Shu, who is the reporter behind that, basically calling out a country of origin, saying the author is from communist China. What more do you need to know? This latest comment has now made national news, and a lot of people are outraged about Jim Pillen's statement, reasonably so. Of course, he has not responded. But again, this is just an example of what it is that we're talking about as far as the fourth estate, nonprofit news, still doing the work, still holding those accountable, and being, I guess, not afraid, not really backing down to really talk about what's going on in government and in the state. And this is happening in real time, right before our very eyes, again, between Flatwater Free Press and now Governor Pillen.
Man.
Yeah.
I find it funny that he's caught up. He ain't saying nothing because he caught.
Oh yeah. And the irony of him making this statement while on a mission trip to Japan. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Like, you're in Asia talking about these communist Asians, like what?
Man, when I say that this show is interesting because this show really deals in nuance more than anything else. Because we talk about the stuff that we think he's doing good, and ain't no way that we ain't gonna let some stuff that like this slide either, though.
Right.
Not that we have to even bring it up. I mean, he's getting national attention for this stuff. I think it's crazy. And it really, just as you can see, just even people that are out here fighting a good fight, battling, trying to get the information. Now, this is the importance of the fourth estate is so important. I mean, if you can think about the one of the biggest hog farmers is the governor, and how anything that the governor does is going to maybe sway because of his business. I mean, who would keep track of that? Who would even call that out? Who would even, there might be some things, there's some laws broken here. There might be some major ramifications from what's happening here. And if nobody was covering that, nobody was looking into that, if there's no investigative journalism on it, how would we ever know? How would that ever happen? We just be over here reporting on brain cancers in babies because of the nitrates in the water and not have no clue. I mean, really. So, I mean, we talked about this already before, but like, seriously, on top of everything else, it's we have to realize too that on top of everything else, it's continuing. There's been no statement. There's been no
apologies, nothing.
There's been no even acknowledgement of anything that was done wrong or said wrong. And I have to think, because like that's probably the majority of what people were in this state think, and so why would he be wrong? He's got so many people that would be like, "Yep, you're right. She's coming to China." You know what I'm saying? Like why who's calling for the apology? Would a person apologize if they just because somebody called for it, or if they think that they actually did something wrong?
Right. Again, he obviously felt that KFAB, was a safe space.
Somebody said that. They were like, KFAB is a place for racists to be racist. It's a safe place or whatever. You can say what you want.
Yeah. So no wonder so many erectile dysfunction and attorney lawyer ads on KFAB. So chat chimers are saying, man. Yeah, hilarious.
Josh Tate said the rhetoric from the Nebraska governor is deplorable. I can't believe it's gotten this bad in our state.
I mean,
been this way.
Right. Has it gotten this bad, or is this just what it is? I mean, let's remember how Pillen even got in the seat. I mean, the Ricketts family basically paid for his campaign.
Miss Eric Phil says, when will we make positive national news for something other than sports? It's a good question. I supposedly we made positive national news when it came to the gun rates with our youth and all the work that's being done there. So that was some quote unquote good news. Other states looking at how we have worked with the police and so on and so forth. By the way, with that said, just want to remind people we got Brother Barney coming on next Wednesday, October 25th. Guest Willie Barney will come on. He agreed to come on and answer some questions. And as we keep talking about, this is a nuanced show. We definitely want to approach this with our style, but get your questions ready. Get your questions and comments together. Get your heads together. We want to have some conversation here that can be productive, and really dive in, ask some questions, figure out what is actually happening. Approach this with the ability to say, hey, let's get to some actual communication here, figure out what's going on. He's the kind of person in my experience that it will absolutely listen to criticism, will absolutely listen to what wants to know what people are thinking, wants to connect with people all the time. I think the brother gets turned down for certain connection opportunities more than people think. More than people think, and it could be because they have a feeling that he's one of these people that are controlling things to our detriment. But again, he'll be here to answer these questions next Wednesday, so definitely get your questions together for that, and it'll be a very, very entertaining show at the very least.
Man, yeah, excited for that one.
For sure. Go ahead.
Just about 8 minutes left, man. I only got 2 articles.
Lightning round.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Get on up out of here. Actually, speaking of Pillen, we kind of got some more shenanigans coming out of the Pillen administration, really. This time, Nebraska Attorney General office has refiled its challenge to a criminal justice measure passed earlier this year after the state Supreme Court declined to take up the issue. Again, Mike Hilgers, Nebraska's Attorney General, is still challenging criminal justice reform bills, specifically ones passed by Senator Justin Wayne. And he's not backing down. Again, the AG's office argued the portion of the new law that dealt with early parole of elderly inmates and those who had served at least 80% of their prison term were likely unconstitutional, violating the Nebraska Constitution separation of powers clause. Only the State Board of Pardons can commute or reduce a prison sentence, according to the Attorney General. And LB 50 unconstitutionally allowed the legislature through the legislation to do that. According to this argument, again, going against separation of powers or the checks and balances, if you will. But again, Supreme Court seems not to agree with that. They did not take up the issue, but we'll see if this second attempt is futile as well. So definitely keep our eyes on that situation. And before we get out of here, actually some good news. And in other news, WT is reporting the new greenhouse that is opening up finally after several years of kind of remaining vacant and really unfinished. If you're unfamiliar, again, the 75 North development right there on 30th included a greenhouse that for many years has not really reached full potential, but now No More Empty Pots is getting ready to roll in. Big shout out to No More Empty Pots, Nancy, the whole crew over there. Both organizations will work to eliminate poverty and hunger. The greenhouse is set to open later this year with the grand opening on December 8th. The two organizations will offer a list of new amenities to the community that are both functional and educational. So again, especially with North Omaha being recognized as one of many food deserts, hopefully there will be some opportunities for families to get, much needed nutritional value, and also some green thumb education, some urban gardening, hopefully. So definitely excited to see that finally come to use and be a benefit to the community.
Most definitely. They got a big. We talked a little bit. I talked a little bit of Miss Nancy about some of these things, and there's a lot going on, a lot of money behind this. And No More Empty Pots have been doing good work for a while, so I think that they're going to really make a big impact, big difference here. And I'm happy to see that the greenhouse not just sitting there. So that's what's up.
Yeah. The last kickback we had at the Culture House, we had Chef out there serving plates. So she is a graduate of No More Empty Pots. So they're doing big things, man. Doing big things. Shout out to my sis, man. Shout out to Chef.
That's what's up. Appreciate everybody that's jumped into the chat again. We got about 5 minutes left in the show, so we're going to jump into some haps. So
yeah, man.
Again, thanks for everybody that has given us haps and sent over stuff. I'm not sure if I can get to. It's kind of difficult for me to get to the stuff that's on my text messages. So if you guys will put that in Friends for Sky Omaha a little earlier too, then we can pull that out and get to those things. But in the meantime, between time, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some haps. If you will.
Hey. What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
Yep, time for the haps. What's going down? Let us know what's happening. This is coming up on the weekend here, so of course we do need to talk about a few things that's going on, particularly with us, the Content Creators Camp. Last class is happening tomorrow. Last class.
Where does the time go?
Say again.
Where does the time go?
Yeah, it flew by for real. But last class tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Culture House. Definitely come through if you're if you've been involved with this class before, if you've been involved with teaching the class, or if you are just a chat chimer or a ghost listener, because we will have a little bit of a chat chimers kickback after the class where we can kind of just talk about how, just hang out for a minute, just fellowship and hang out and all that good stuff. So really appreciate everybody that's been a part of this. And even if you haven't, come on through for the last class and let's talk about what we're going to do for next year for sure. So Keatron Zykel will be your instructor tomorrow, and we'll be talking about the kind of work that we do, pulling out stuff in between the lines in the news and having discussions and talking about it, and so on and so forth. Again, tomorrow at Culture House. If you don't know where the Culture House is, what's wrong?
What's wrong with you?
3014 North 24th Street. Check us out tomorrow, 10 o'clock. It's going down. Also, I want to let everybody know about few other things that's happening. Our partners over at OEAAs have the 18th annual OEAAs. The nominee reveal is going down, and this is happening at Benson Theater on the 25th of October.
Okay.
So coming up, next week, 5 days. Marking on your calendar. It's going to be a fun time. Hear the nominee reveals and all that good stuff. It's a free event, so you can come on, check it out. No tickets are necessary, but for more information, you can go to bensontheater.org. or you can go to the omahaartsandentertainment.org website as well and get some information here on the nominee reveal party that's happening for the 18th annual OEAAs. I've been on the board this time around, so I'm kind of seeing some of the behind the scenes of what's going on this award show. I find the award show to be a very important situation. If we do not have an art scene out here, if we do not have a means to recognize the artists, and that's what the OEAAs it means to me.
Man.
And the award show will actually happen in January, or I believe it's either January or February. I have to get the day of the actual award show. But this is the nominee reveal that's happening here on the 25th. So check that out. That's 5 days from now, October 25th. No, it's more than 5 days from now.
No, it's 5 days. Today's the 20th. The math is mathing.
You know what? I don't know nothing about time. 5 days from now, nominee reveal happening. More information, go to bensontheater.org, most definitely. And while we're on that subject of the Benson Theater, I have our Bonalto Ball coming up as well.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Definitely check this out. November 11th. This is going to be our big fancy ball that we're having right now to raise funds. If those of you don't know, the Benson Theater is a nonprofit organization that is committed to opening up the doors and opening up the stage and the lights and everything on communities that have artistic endeavors that need assistance on that. So we open the doors to everybody, most diverse. I've learned about the diversity of Omaha more than ever being here at the theater and all the events and things that are going on here. And we do it because we're able to raise funds in order for us to be able to help some of the programming, help people come in that normally wouldn't be able to afford the state-of-the-art lights and sounds and beautiful space. And they are because of this. The Missing Theater is a community outreach situation.
In a gym, man, just a gym. It's a beautiful, beautiful space.
Absolutely, absolutely. So definitely check that out. Lots more going on. We talked about Heart Ministries opening up their job description. They have a job for a driver coming up here. You can go to Heart Ministries and get some more information on that. Heart Ministry Center. Shout out to Amy H. No dot on this, but they're expanding, growing, and have a lot going on over there, including some jobs openings there. So the jobs are also what's happening. So appreciate that very much. Also, we're trying to run through this pretty quick. Don't forget our one of the chat chimers, Leah Keister, does a podcast called Swing Left Nebraska. She's going to have Dr. Aaron Feissinger there this time around. Unicorn one-on-one, bills to pay, attention to, ways to get involved. That's what's up. Definitely check it out. Go to swingleftnebraska.com and check out the podcast where you get your podcast. Strengthening our democracy is what their whole deal is about. So they talked to some very important people and got some hot shows over there. Definitely check that out as well. Willie Barney hipped us to the African American Leadership Summit that's coming up. Black Business Expo, building strength within. Monday, November 6th. This is going down. Mark your calendars. Hilton, downtown Omaha, from 8 to 5. Strategic gathering of local and national African American leaders is happening. As you can see, all these leaders are here. Definitely go to empowermentnetwork.com and check out what's going on there, and check out your tickets and all those things happening November 6th. Definitely coming up, and we need to make sure that we got some representation over there as well. So definitely gonna be talking about that. Also, what's coming up here at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, and if you don't know where that is, what's wrong with you? 3448 Evans Street, Omaha, from 1 to 5. Ernest Jackson's Born Day celebration is happening October 22nd. That's in 2 days. 2 days that's going down. Music, food, art, spoken word, community engagement. Definitely check it out. And there's ways that you can bless the brother with some gifts while he is incarcerated. This is a good opportunity for us to talk about his case and why he is in jail unjustly and what people are doing to put boots to the roof to help him get released. This will be a good time to talk about all those things. So meet us over at Malcolm X Foundation for that event as well. Just checking the chat real quick. Not seeing any other things. Did I miss something?
Yeah, Mary Sanchez, Stilo the Don, Marcy Yates at the Culture House this weekend. So if you want to catch some live hip hop, live music, definitely check it out. Ali Taco 402. Oh, well, okay. Also be there.
That's what's up. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I was looking for that Culture House flyer there.
Yeah. Also, Angela Davis coming. Definitely can't get out here without saying that. Or mark your calendars. IB Black Girl bringing Angela Davis on the 28th or 27th. Excuse me, October 27th. So next week, next Friday is going down. Definitely mark your calendars for that.
Got to. Appreciate everybody that stuck with us here at the end of the show. We're a little bit past, but we're gonna get going. Zane says, "Hey, what's up, dude? What's going on, my brother? Appreciate you very much for coming on in this morning." He says, Zane says, "Hi, buddy, and Uncle Paul." So what's up? He said, "Hi to you."
Hey, the dude. Okay. I got another one. Miss Wanda Lewis telling us to check our inbox. She says, "Come help plant trees. Keep Omaha beautiful." It looks like Councilwoman Juanita Johnson will be out at Fontenelle Park over the weekend for some beautification. That's going on tomorrow at Fontenelle Park. That's 4407 Fontenelle Boulevard from 12:30 to 4. So if you want to get your hands dirty a little bit, get into some beautification, plant some trees.
Okay.
There you go.
Want to plant some trees and things? That sounds good.
Yeah, get your green thumb on.
That's what's up. Also, let me see. There's one more that I want to throw out there too that was in the inbox. That movie that we were talking about, man, the sequel to Time for Burning, A Time for Building is going to be showing Wednesday, October 25th from 6 to 8. That Moore is putting that on, so more have the brothers on for more and talk about what they got going on.
Yeah, big shout out to brother A. Jamal Ben.
Yeah, 3647 Lafayette Avenue. That's where this is happening, October 25th from 6 to 8. Film and discussion. So this is a good time to watch that film, have a talk. We all know that the conversation rules the nation, so I love it when they show a film and have a specific topic they want to talk about and then discuss that. So that's happening there as well. Appreciate that very much. And I did not know that there was a sequel to A Time for Burning. until now. And so we'll see what's happening with that. Shout out to Moore. With that, I guess we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Again, really appreciate everybody that joined in on the chat today. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Again, reminder. Also, tomorrow is going down. Last content creator camp. Come through the Culture House. We'll be chilling from about 10 to about 1:30. I won't be there, but my man Paul B will be representing, and hopefully you will be there as well. I see Von Chapman. You asking the question: will jobs be available for them in local media in that area? That is the ultimate goal. We are working towards that. Not this time. We haven't, been able to facilitate that. But yes, we're working towards that, and that is the point of the Content Creators Campus, to build that army of journalists and send them to all the outlets that we've been talking about throughout the show. So thank you for that question. Again, you don't have to register; just pull up tomorrow. It goes down, last class, and until next time, man. Catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. We love you. We thank you, Paul B.
What's up?
Take it away.
Hey, just want to add to that, Brother Chapman. Yes, we are trying to figure out the model for news as well as train people for it, so that we can help other entities, including our entity, be able to have the funds to be able to hire as well. So that's all. That's all stuff that's going. And actually, making some good inroads here and there. We'll see how things work out for us, but it's looking pretty good for 2024 for some of the things that we try to put in place. And we are looking forward to being able to hire on some journalists and really push some things next year when it comes to that, which is only a couple months. We only got a few months left in this year, so
man,
it's coming through
right around the corner.
I want to thank everybody who's joined in on us. Amy H. says you guys have done a wonderful job with the Content Creators Program. Congratulations on a successful set of classes. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep. Also, let's see. I was just thinking. Looking at. My Mama Guy said, "Enjoyable show. See you all tomorrow." I'm so glad you're back in town and gonna come.
Man, my dudes.
That's what's up. Pop says, "What a great week of shows. Thank you guys. Your dedication is inspiration. Have a great weekend, First Sky fam, and see you all on Monday." Appreciate you, Pops, very much. So Brooke says, "Great show. Thank you so much as well." Really appreciate everybody that is joined into the chat today. But want to give a special shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. I want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them, and a shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. We cannot do this show without you, and all of your comments are great. If you miss any parts of this show, go back and check them out in their entirety and on Facebook or YouTube in particular. Give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Really appreciate that very much so. And check that out and check the chat out when you have time as well. Also, if you're so inclined, go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button. Again, we want to have the news that we put together paid for by the people. That's kind of the model that we are looking for, so that nobody feels that if we're getting pulled one way or another. Not that we would ever allow ourselves to do that, but just for that extra security, man, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So we'll go ahead and get out of here at this point. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you Monday. Take care of yourselves over the weekend. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green.